everybody, my name is Barbara Moreno, and this is my Madison College Honors Program presentation on Archaea and the human body. Now, do you recognize the Yellowstone National Park Grand Prismatic Spring that's present in the screen? This amazing and powerful hydrothermal feature is home of Archaea. But you may be wondering, how is it possible that any form of life can sustain living in conditions with temperatures of at least 204 degrees Fahrenheit? Well, if you're in Archaea, this is possible. The outline for this presentation will cover the following topics. We will first start with the goals, objective, and process of the project. Then we will cover the history of Archaea, the genetic characterization and structures, diversity and classification, the presence in human body, applications and future directions, and then summarize in a conclusion. I know this may look wordy, but this overall covers all the objectives and goals that we had presented for the project. In this case, the idea was to locate information about previous and ongoing research on the domain of Archaea. This involved its diversity, classification, structure, overall knowledge of its presence in the human body and the environment. The main objective was to analyze the current understanding or lack of understanding of the influence of Archaea in the human body, and then use that to formulate suggestions for future directions in this line of research. At the end, the goal was to write a literature review with APA format and submit our research to a peer-reviewed journal for publication. An interesting fact to begin the presentation with is that Archaeans were discovered only 43 years ago, but they are suspected to be around Earth since almost 2 billion years in the past. This is a small timeline of the history of Archaeans in the scientific community. It all started in 1977. American microbiologist Carl Woese first discovered the domain of Archaea. With the help of collaborators and interest from the scientific community, he was able to further on the investigations on Archaea. In this case, able to classify Archaea and able to relate it to the other domains of life, in this case eukaryotes and bacteria. At first, it had a small clash between the scientific community and the introduction of a new domain of life, just because it's a revolutionary idea to introduce. But eventually, at some point, and even now, Archaeans are considered the third domain of life, and ongoing research is still trying to uncover the mysteries that are behind its characteristics, application, and even effects. Some of the characteristics and structures of Archaeans are that, first of all, Archaeans are able to replicate asexually through binary fission, and they are unicellular organisms, which means that they have one cell, and they lack the common organelles that we know of. So they don't have mitochondria, they don't have a nucleus. The most important thing Archaeans are known for is that they are characterized as extremophiles. This means that they're able of surviving, thriving, and even growing on the most extreme and harsh environmental conditions, whether it is Antarctica, its extreme cold temperatures, or the national hot springs that are extremely hot. Archaeans have also been found to be closely related to eukaryotes and bacteria in different ways. Funny enough, it all started with Archaeans being identified as Archaebacteria, just because they were related at that time, but with further research now, Archaeans have been found to be related to the eukaryotes domain, which is a domain that human beings are in. And also Archaeans have also been identified with gram-positive bacteriums. In this case, they have a single plasma membrane, they have their DNA material stored in one big chromosome. And overall, when it comes down to its diversity and classifications, there are 5 main groups that have been mostly studied when it comes down to Archaea. In this case, Archaeota, Crenarchaeota, Coarchaeota, Nonarchaeota, and Thaumarchaeota, all listed down there in the slide. In this case, each type has specific characteristics that differentiate them from the other ones. So for example, Nonarchaeotas are known for being extremely small in size and being able to thrive in extremely high temperatures. For example, you will be able to find an Archaeota in the thermal vents at the bottom of the ocean. Our Crenarchaeota, for example, an Archaean species that's called Sulfolubus acidocoldarius. This species is known for being a Crenarchaeota and it's able to thrive in temperatures from 70 to 90 degrees Celsius and low pH levels from 2.5 to 3. Now, the presence of archaea in the human body is quite interesting because there is still much that we don't know of. So far, they have been known to be non-pathogenic, which means that they are not significantly harmful for the human body. Archaeans have also been found in the natural human microbiota, specifically in the gut area, where they help digest complex sugars and help in the process of digestion as well. Research has also related archaeans with the skin and its presence in extremely dry conditions. Archaea have also been related to microbial processes or biotransformation under extremely hostile conditions, since we know that they're extremophiles. In this case, this means that they're able to process carbon, sulfur, and acids even. Moreover, archaea have been linked to the human microbiome. When it comes down to application and future directions, because of its extremophilic characteristics, archaea have been considered for both industrial and commercial usage. Let's consider biorefinery, food industry, textile industry, scientific research, and diagnostics. And that overall helps us identify the line of future directions. For instance, we can consider the impact of archaea on our human body, the impact of archaea in the environment. Can we benefit, or are we being affected by archaeans themselves? For the conclusion, I would say that one of the greatest limitations that came with this specific topic was the fact that since archaeans were recently discovered, there's still much that has to be understood about them. For instance, the relation to human health and the environment is still a mystery, and with the use of current technologies, it is slowly but surely being uncovered. I will submit my literature review to the NCHC Journal of Undergraduate Research and Creative Activity, or Eureka, present right in the screen as well. The picture that you can see in the screen shows a part of my literature review, including some pictures, my objectives, the abstract, that kind of covers everything that has been addressed in this presentation. I use sources in APA format. These are just some of the ones that I used specifically for this presentation, but again, APA formatted, and yeah, they're present here. When it comes down to the questions, I would say that one of the things I learned the most from doing this honors project was I refreshed my APA citations, very important and very useful, definitely. I would also say that I went more in depth on understanding the domains of life, specifically on the microbiology aspect of it and the importance of both eukaryotes, bacteria, and its effects on the human body. But then again, I learned a lot about archaea themselves, and just because they're fairly recent, how impactful they has been for the scientific community as well. It has almost become like a quest to understand archaea. I would say that on that same line, that is what helped my honors project go above and beyond the rigor of my coursework. In this case, I was able to go beyond what I learned about archaea in class, and I decided to focus on a specific topic that I found interested, which was its relation to the human body and what has been found about it. So then focusing on research, future directions, having this as a place for, or a jumping start for people that are interested in archaea, or at least research of archaea in the college, which will definitely be something quite interesting that I have been hoping for. If I would go back to the beginning of my honors project and start over, I would say, as I am collecting the data that I've been getting from my sources, I would say start drafting or at least writing down paragraphs of the ideas or at least discussions that I want to tackle. I had to digest most of the data that I collected at the very end, which made it complicated to draft because there was a lot of information to address. But I think that definitely, just going back and attacking directly the things that I found would definitely help me for a research project later in the future. Something I'll take into consideration. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Francisco Ignacio Eugenin Campos and this is my honors project presentation in the area of marketing. My mentor was Steve Null and my project was a website to help international students called the International Student Resource. So to talk a little bit about what we're going to discuss in this presentation, I'm going to start talking about my personal background. After that, I'm going to explain the problems that I saw and that motivated me to develop this project, then the solutions that I came up with to solve these problems. After that, I'm going to explain the research that I had to do before the beginning of the program, then the process of developing this project and working with Steve. After that, how the pandemic affected the project at the time, then the initial results that we got after launching the website, and finally, the future plans and limitations of it. Who am I? I am an international student from Chile. I lived there my whole life, and I always knew I wanted to do something big. So I knew that for that, I needed to go to a great college. That's why I wanted to study in the US. Unfortunately, I couldn't find any information online. It was just too much, too difficult, and too overwhelming. And with the resources I had around me, I just couldn't find any options. So I decided to come to US and enrolled in the first college I found. That was Northeast Wisconsin Technical College. After that, in 2019, I transferred to Madison College in order to seek better opportunities to transfer. And that's why I'm here. What are the issues that I saw? First, how I said, it was just so difficult to understand the American college system, especially if you lived your whole life in a different country with a different college system. Then, to find information about colleges and find the right college for you and their application process, which is probably the most difficult part of this whole journey. And then the problems to hear about other experiences, to contact other international students, and to just have a community that can support you and help you in this difficult process. So what are the solutions for these issues? First, to create a step-by-step guide of how to become an international student all the way from beginning to end of this process. Then, to create a space in which this community can be created, in which international students can interact with each other, support each other, help each other, listen to each other. And finally, from my part, to provide orientation and help to all these international students that just need somebody to talk with or to ask for help based on my experiences, research, mistakes, etc. So what research did I do before the project? I did not enroll in the honors project right away because I wanted to be more knowledgeable, so I took other classes that helped me to know more about international students. The first one that helped me the most was English 2. There I did a one semester long project in which I learned about international students. I did an ethnographic study about international students in Madison College. I did interviews to different international students around the world, and I just read a lot of articles about their history, their current situation, their struggle, and how much they bring into American culture, economy, and universities. So, how was the process of developing this project? First, I had to put all that information together, define what was relevant and what was not, and the best way to share it. Then learn how to make a website, which was a difficult part since I've never made a website before. Define the structure of the website in the way that it was the easiest to follow, that was from beginning to end of the process in chronological order. Then create a social media advertisement campaign to share it with as many people as possible. How did the pandemic affect my project? It happened right before I went to get my multimedia content, right before I took the pictures and videos for the website to make it more personalized. And that pushed me to learn more about multimedia content and copyright and content ownership and find the ways to work around them. What results did I get after launching this website? After less than $15 in social media advertisement campaign, I get an average of 100 visits per day, which is awesome. But the best part is that I got dozens of contact submissions of a lot of people just sending positive feedback, sending recommendations, asking for help for themselves or their friends. And then after I got the data, I had to analyze it, find the traffic over time, that is the image in the top, and see how the different changes in the advertisement campaign affected that, the location of the visits, that is the image at the bottom, the visit duration, the visit retention, and then from which device they were contacting me or which devices they were using to go into this website, either a laptop or a phone. What are the future plans and obstacles for this website? So the first one is to work with high school exchange programs such as Rotary Youth Exchange or EF Education First to help these high school students to come back to the US in their college experience to become international students. And then to generate income to keep growing this website. And how am I going to do that? Selling merchandise such as the pictures that I have there, the shirt with an international student joke in the back and the logo in the front, and then to implementing paid materials in the website. And then what are the obstacles? The main one, obviously, the pandemic. People are not looking to travel right now. It's not the best moment to work with international students. And then the funds. I am a college student. I don't have a lot of money, so there's just so much I can put into this website. And without generating income, I don't know how much I can grow this website. So here there's a closer look of the website. We're going to start with the About tab, in which I talk about the International Student Resource and its mission. Then About Me, in which I explain who I am and why this website is reliable. Then my video for the advertisement campaign, and the section in which they can contact me and send me an email. Then, before applying, I have 3 categories: different options for colleges in the US, the financial aspect, and the English requirements to become an international student. Then, while applying, 3 tabs as well. We have the basics of the application process, the types of applications in the US, and how to find the requirements for the schools that you want to go to. And then we have once accepted. Also 3 tabs: housing, finance management in a new country with a new currency, new prices, and how to work being an international student. And then finally, we have the tab that I was talking about, in which students can grow this community. That is Student Answers, a forum in which students can ask each other and answer each other different questions. Here we have a question of Sofia, an Italian girl, asking about application deadlines. Then we have my answer, her positive feedback, another student answering, and the interaction happening between the 2 of them. How is your honor project above and beyond the rigor of the coursework in your program? I created and launched a professional website from scratch and paid it with my own money. Then I worked with a graphic designer to learn how to make a logo and make this logo reality, the one in the background, that came from my drawings and own ideas. Then I created an advertisement campaign in different social media platforms such as Google, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. After that, I learned how to create a video to make this video advertisement campaign right there, and I learned different aspects of an advertisement video, the duration, the parts of it, etc. And then I contacted external organizations to improve the output of this website even after the program was done. Here there is a closer look of the video. What do you learn from doing your honors project? I learned a lot. I learned a lot about international students, their history, their current situation, their struggle, and how much they bring into the American culture. I learned how to create a logo using Adobe Illustrator. I learned how to create a professional website using a website development softwares, then how to work with copyright content and content ownership of multimedia in the multimedia aspect. I learned how to develop an advertisement campaign in several social media platforms, how to create an advertisement video and how to make it fit in these advertisement campaigns that I talked before, and how to improve the search engine optimization of a website using keywords and different strategies. If you could go back to the beginning of your honors project and start all over, what would you do differently? First, I would have tried to get my social media content done earlier in the semester, so I would have been able to be more ready to a situation such as the pandemic, and it would have not been that big of a problem as it was. And then I would have tried to focus more on different ways to generate income to keep growing this website, to keep helping people. Because as right now, I don't have more funds, so the website cannot keep growing by advertisement paid campaigns.
Hi, my name is Lisa Andrich, and for my project, I created a web application called the Ice Age Segment Tracker. I am an avid runner, trail runner, hiker, an endurance athlete. While I've been running, I learned a lot about the Ice Age Trail over the last couple of years, and it's become a big goal to do the entire thing, which is 1,200 miles. Yes, 1,200 miles of trail that goes all the way through our beautiful state of Wisconsin and really highlights a lot of the different scenery that Wisconsin has. A lot of people travel from all over the place just to come and hike on the Ice Age Trail. So some people want to do this entire thing, like the whole 1,200 miles, but there's not really a great way of keeping track. My answer was to create a web application that kind of has everything organized for you. The goal of the project was to design and build the web application, which is fitting because I'm in the web development program. I also was hoping to learn a little bit about project management and agile design, and also how to deploy a web application. So looking at my site right here, so we are on my landing page of Ice Age Segment Tracker. And as a non-user, there's a few things that I'm able to do. First, I can just kind of see some general information right here. I can go out to the Ice Age Trail Alliance, which has some more information about the trail if you're interested. Also, I can go and look at some segments. They're all organized by county. So if I were to go to, let's go to Dane County, and I'm looking at the Cross Plains segment. Here I get a little bit of information. So we have the county, which is Dane County, the distance of this particular segment, the elevation grade, technical grade, and if there's water available. If you're an avid hiker, you'd know a little bit about the elevation grade and technical grade you'd want to know, so you know what kind of shoes you want to be bringing, or so you know what type of hike you're in for. The higher the number, it does go up to 5, and this is based off of the guidebook. I took all the information directly out of there, and the Ice Age Trail Alliance did give me permission to use the atlas images as well as all the information in there as well. So again, you'd want to know the elevation grade and technical grade so you can be prepared for that hike. But I want to actually track this. So first thing that I'm going to need is I'm going to need an account. So I'll go here and create an account. And this is just a regular form, just like if you're signing up for anything else. You're going to enter your information, press submit, and then you have an account. However, I already have some test data, so you can see a little bit more of the features that I have. So we'll go ahead and log in there. And this takes us to our account. So my account here, like any other kind of website, you can update information. Let's say I wanted to change my name for whatever reason, I'm able to do that, and that is reflected in the database as well. Again, it looks really easy, but this was a couple days of research and putting together, so a lot of learning happened in this one form. If I wanted to, I could also delete my account as well. We'll go over to my segments, which is the bread and butter of my application. This is giving me the summary of everything that I've done. So I have my completed miles right here. This is including any segment that I've done twice as well. So just so we can kind of keep that in mind if we're looking at numbers. So I have number of completed segments as well. Again, this one could you can see a discrepancy between these two numbers right here. So I have 3 segments on here that I've done twice or something like that. And then I also have the unique completed segments. So this is how many of the 188 segments I have completed. So this is telling me how far I am along to completing that 1,200 mile goal. And then I have the percentage as well. So I know I'm a very visual person. I like to kind of watch something like move when I'm going for a goal. So this is definitely speaking to that. I can also see all the different completed segments that I've done back as far as I want to. So you can see all of the segments that you've ever put in here. And it just says the date. They are organized by date as well, by most recent county, and then the segment name. If I want even more data than that, I can go in here. And this is going to give me all of that extra detail. So again, the date completed, and then the distance on here. I do have it on here, and it doesn't just kind of automatically come over from the atlas information, because some people like to be extremely picky about the distance. So the atlas might say that it's 4 miles. However, my watch might have said it was like 4.12 miles. And some of us really like that data. And if we're going for pace or personal records, we want all of the mileage counted in that. We also have the time it took to complete that particular segment, the pace you were going. This is especially for the runners. We are all about pace, so that's why that's included in there, along with elevation gain and elevation loss, so you can really see how difficult it was as far as like hills and stuff like that. Also, any comments that you want to add. So maybe you saw a really cool rock or a tree or a certain animal, or you hiked it with like your best friend, or whatever it is that you want to add. You can kind of keep that different from like if I did this same segment another time and I had a different type of experience. I can also delete this segment, and then that takes it out of my list. You can also see the different status bars here as far as county completion. There are various awards for completing the counties as well. So like Waukesha has Walk the Walk, which is one that I'm currently looking to complete right now. There are other counties that have the same thing, like you can get various awards and certificates based on the county. It is not all of them though. If I want to extend this application, that would definitely be the next thing that I do. All right, so let's talk about adding a segment. So from my segments, I'm going to go over here and just press add. This takes me back to the different counties, and let's say that I want to complete something from Dane County, and let's do Table Bluff. So I just completed this. I want to add it to my segment tracking. So I'll go ahead and add the segment. It already has the name in there for me. So I am going to say that we completed it today, and it was 12 miles because I wasn't paying attention. It was, let's see, that took me like 79 minutes. That's going to be pretty quick. And we'll put in some random elevation here. And then we have our, just a test comment here. And we'll go ahead and submit that. And now Table Bluff is on my list right here. So that is how you track your segments on my iceagetracks.com or Ice Age Segment Tracker. And then the only other feature is really just logging out. So looking at the different questions that I know I was supposed to answer. So the first is, what did I learn from my project? And I learned a lot, but specifically, I got to be the user and the developer. So I was able to take a concept and ideas that a user would really like to see on this application, and then take those concepts and then actually develop a plan, and then carry out that plan and then actually develop it into something that was workable. A lot of times as a user, you can be frustrated because things don't work how you necessarily want it to work. But then as a developer, you can be frustrated because a user wants something that's a little bit unrealistic. So I got to see both sides of that. And in creating something that I sort of had in my mind, had designed, was a bit of a challenge because I knew how I wanted it to look. But a lot of that stuff was a little bit more tricky than I realized. So I had to do all of that back end research to make sure that I was able to get something that I was, as a user, that I was okay with. Let's see. So how did my project go above and beyond? I think the main thing is that there was no roadmap or guide for creating this. In all of my development courses, there's a syllabus, we do some labs, and then the project kind of builds off of that. So there's a general direction of where it's going. With this, there wasn't. I had an idea of what I wanted to look, what it should have looked like, and I had to kind of create that map. And it ended up maybe not necessarily being a straight road, but a very windy road of trying to figure out which things needed to be done first and how the puzzle really fit together, which made it very difficult as I had to learn things in various orders. If I could go back and do something over, I don't think I would. I'm definitely not saying that this is perfect by any means, because I was in the middle of my education and my web development courses. I started with certain knowledge, and then my knowledge kind of grew as I was creating this application. So my application grew as well. So things could have been reorganized. However, you can really see in my code where I started and where I finished. And I don't think I would change that because of all of the learning that happened while I was going through it. There's different ways that you can do things when building an application or really doing anything in life. So my code definitely reflects that. There's different ways of coding things. So some things were done more efficiently towards the end as I was learning more about model view controller or PDO or just design concepts in general, where in the beginning I really had to go and do some back end research and figure out how it was going to look. So I wasn't really so efficient in the beginning. But all of that learning kind of happened while I was growing, and I can really see through my application that I grew as well. So I don't know that I would take that back.